Is it just me, or has time moved extremely fast the last few years? It's almost 2026. It felt like we were just in 2020. It felt like we just saw the news that Kobe Bryant passed away. And now we're all the way in 2025, about to go into 2026. I don't get that, man.
So clearly, it's not just me. If you all can attest to this and if you can relate to this message, leave a comment in the comment section because I need to know how many are actually experiencing the disappearance of time, like literally. The pace of the timer that you just heard, which is typically the seconds of a clock ticking, tick, tock, tick, tock. We don't have that anymore. It's non existent. When I tell you time is disappearing, I literally look up and from Sunday to Monday, it's like it goes by within the snap of a finger. Where is time going? Or are we coming to a space of realizing that time has never been linear? The only way time actually existed was when the powers that were constructed things according to timelines. So when they started creating things like calendars to keep up with the dates that you would have to pay your bills on the first of the month, when they started coming up with clocks to keep up with the time that you would have to get to school, or the time that you would have to clock in at work, or the date that you would have to pay your taxes, or the date that you would have to pay your rent or your mortgage. That's when time became linear. And we ended up in this time capsule where everything within our lives circulated around this particular day, this particular time. But now it's to the point where time is disappearing. I have never seen a year go by so fast. Literally. Now, the question is time disappearing or are we disappearing? Are we raising our vibration so high that we're not dense enough to live in the time capsule anymore? Because the time capsule, again, is circulating around the agenda of the powers that were to keep their system moving. Your entire life, every day of the week, every hour of your day would be structured around building the blocks or laying the bricks to keep their system growing. So there must be something to this, because the more that we withdraw from the matrix, the more we see time disappear. So much so that we have to only recognize that time never really existed. Even when you go back to the 1500s, when they switched out the Julian calendar to the Gregorian calendar, there was a clear system of time does not exist, because it was, I believe it was the 4th of October. And everybody woke up the next day and it was the 15th of October, because they decided to take away 11 days out of the calendar because they said, oh, well, the Julian calendar is not quite aligning with the seasons. And the main objective was so that Easter would fall specifically on the spring equinox. Now, obviously, there's some spiritual, ritualistic meanings behind that. They wanted to make sure that they kept that at the forefront of your mind. But it is really the representation of the new beginning, the birthing, the rebirth. Okay? There's a lot of deeper meanings behind that, but they tried to keep it on surface level and tell you, well, we only switched the calendar for these couple of reasons. But it's ritualistic reasons behind why they did it. But now they're starting to recognize that the more we withdraw from the matrix, The less their calendar exists, the less we fuel their time capsule that they placed us in. They're no longer receiving our energy there, especially for those of you who are leaving your 9 to 5 or no longer interested in being overly consumed with school programming, or, not necessarily being overly fixated on, oh, the first of the month is coming, bills are due, right? Because you're leaving that lack mentality and scarcity mindset that has you overly heightened or hyper focused on specific dates when things are due. The more that we emotionally, mentally, and spiritually withdraw from the matrix, the more that we are watching time disappear right before our eyes. And I ain't mad at it. But what I am recognizing is that because my internal clock, we all have internal clocks, right? Because before they, brought forth the Julian calendar or the Gregorian calendar, we had the lunar, right? We went off of the phases of the moon, which many will, attest to that being 13 months rather than 12. So we recognize that your internal clock is not aligning with their linear time. Okay? So it's a whole lot that's off about it. And this is why many people are finding like, I don't feel like I'm such and such age. You can have somebody telling you that you're 50 based on your biological age, right? Or based on your birth date. And you running around feeling like you 40 or 30. There's a reason for that. These beings could very well be manipulating the energy around us, and it's just starting to feel like things are just speeding up at a rapid pace, because they may be trying to rush through this Aquarian age of awakening, figuring if they don't give us enough time to awaken, then maybe not too many people will jump on this awakening train. Not too many people will have enough time to deprogram and come into remembrance. There is this objective to speed up time. And so this is why it's very important to constantly remind yourself, place it in your subconscious mind that timing is fluid and it is not linear. We are multidimensional beings existing on multiple realms simultaneously. This is not separately. This is all simultaneously. You know this in your dream state. You know this because you can have particular thoughts about one thing and be envisioning one thing while you're present in another space. We know this because we could be in the image of someone else's mind across the globe while we're doing something totally different. We are multidimensional beings. And the more that we withdraw from their linear time, the faster their empire is cycling out of its position. Okay? They do things in hopes that it will actually prolong their power, but it always ends up working against them. It always does. Because in your awakening state, you come to the realization that you no longer want to function around somebody else's calendar, somebody else's schedule, somebody else's timeline. You didn't come here to do that. You wasn't born into this world to have to focus your life around a 24-hour cycle and giving 10 of those hours, 12 of those hours to somebody else's system, and then having to use 8 of those hours to rejuvenate your energy, just to use the last couple of hours to get prepared to go right back into the 10 to 12 hour system. We didn't come here to be placed in their time capsule. So keep on paying attention, y'all, and recognize that it was never real. That's my message for you all. Let me know if you are experiencing something similar. Like, subscribe, leave a comment below. I'll talk to y'all soon.
Okay, so I know we're living in a matrix. I know time doesn't exist. But why the fuck yesterday? I'm leaving at my house. I told my husband I'm going to run to the store real quick before it closed. And he's like, oh, you have plenty of time. It's 3:45. And I'm like, oh, okay. So we looked at the Alexa and it says 3:45. But the time on my stove and the time on my phone says 4:20. I stopped and paused in my track like, wait, are we seeing the same thing here? This never happened. I mean, it's two different times. No, nothing was unplugged. It just so happened that we were looking at two different odd times. I really wish that I had documented this because I knew I wasn't bugging out. Ever since 2025 hit, shit just been getting even weirder. All of a sudden, planes falling out the sky became normal. What? Natural disasters happening left and right. It just automatically catching on fire. There's floods, snowing constantly. I can't make this shit up. And not to mention how my body been super sensitive. Like, I love going into stores and places super early. You know, that's the reason why I was trying to leave out the house so fast, like, just to make sure, like, I don't fall into a crowd. And the way my body is vibrating at an all-time high right now is insane. I do as much as possible to keep myself grounded and at peace. I don't know if it's this 2020 portal or whatever the fuck is going on, but this is insane. But I do feel like things are going to blossom around probably mid-March or beginning of April, which is the new year. Like, I don't even watch the news. And it's like you can't escape what's going on in the world. Like, I can actually feel it, if that makes sense. At this point, continue keeping yourself grounded. Take a salt and lavender bath, which helps tremendously for me. Journaling is awesome. Shit, even coloring is nice. Buy yourself some flowers. Surround yourself with nature. Bring the nature in your home. And just surround yourself with good people or follow good people. You know, people that's gonna uplift your spirit. And don't watch the news.
Visit ShaviZanesGuidance.com if you want to purchase any of the products that I have created. I have 6 different decks for you to choose from: Ancestors Money, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, Dr. Francis Cresswell Singh, and Madam C.J. Walker. I also have the Spiritual Cleanse, where you can cleanse your energy every time you take a shower. It consists of frankincense, myrrh, Palo Santos, and sage. You can also order my miniature altars. You can get my book full of channeled messages, and order your Straight Outta Religion hats and t-shirts. You can also get a 15-minute, 30-minute, or 1-hour session over the phone with me where you can ask as many questions as you'd like. So definitely check out the description box as well as the comment section to book your services and to purchase your products.